I once thought devotion was an agreement. Every moment I invested, every penny I sacrificed, every ambition I set aside would eventually return to me. But the evening I discovered that creased note, tucked away in a container like a shameful secret, my reality didn't simply shatter. It ignited. My identity was absent, not a hint. After decades of binding my relatives' existence together, I was erased entirely. And the cruelest aspect, it didn't even hesitate. My name is Lucas, and I've forever been the one who remains. The fixer. The individual who intervenes when all falls apart. I matured in a drooping home on Willow Creek Lane in Boise, Idaho, a spot with twisted timber planks and a flue that spewed dark fumes each cold season. It wasn't merely a residence. It was my prison, the sole entity I infused my essence into to maintain intact. I was 17 when I began taking additional work hours to assist my folks, Ellen and Frank, manage the lease. I'd slog through frosty mist to seal the fractured panes, reconnect the humming sockets, or transport logs to sustain the warmth. My hands were scraped, my savings a distant recollection, but I accomplished it, since that's what one does for kin, right? Each Friday, I'd perch at their marred oak table, the one bearing blade marks from years of heedless meals, organizing their jumble of invoices. Ellen would be outdoors, trimming her rose shrubs, her smock smeared with soil. Frank would lounge on the sofa, grumbling about auto racing events. It was routine, nearly sacred in its pattern. Yet there was always this pain in my core, as if I were carrying a burden they couldn't perceive. My sibling, Dylan, was the antithesis. The nomad, perpetually pursuing some transient thrill. A journey blog, a digital currency scheme, a partially completed music performance. He'd saunter in, full of smiles and grand schemes, then disappear, leaving me to clean the aftermath. I resented his impulsiveness, but I didn't despise him. Not initially. That Friday, the atmosphere felt keen, like a sword poised to fall. Ellen passed me a tangle of documents, her palm grazing mine. "Lucas, could you manage these? The roses are in disarray." Her tone was warm, but her gaze darted aside, as if concealing a wound. I agreed, plunging into the accustomed disorder of their money matters. Power statements, a scribbled memo about a damaged barrier, a slip for tinned broth. Then I spotted it. A slim, cream-colored envelope, the type that bears significance before you even grasp it. The envelope was sealed with adhesive, but the phrases last will and testament stared boldly at me. My pulse raced. I shouldn't have intruded. It wasn't my privilege, but my digits ripped it apart regardless, extracting a lone page. One sentence. Dylan's name piercing like a dagger. Beside the dwelling, the financial reserve, even Ellen's jade necklace, the one I'd always imagined I'd inherit one day. My name obliterated as though I were a silhouette they'd neglected to project. I remained immobile, the document quivering in my grasp as the space hazed. Every late-night fix, every coin I funneled into their lease, every goal I deferred to sustain their universe, it all evaporated into vapor. I heard Ellen's footwear scraping back indoors, the rear entrance exhaling closed. "Lucas, are you okay?" Her voice was overly soft, as if she understood what I'd revealed. I pivoted, clutching the will like a judgment. Is this accurate? My voice was subdued, but internally I was roaring. Her eyes expanded just for an instant before she averted them. "Lucas, it's not that straightforward, not straightforward." I chuckled, rough and icy. "I've sustained this home for 15 years. I repaired the flue during a blizzard. I covered Dad's operation when the coverage expired. And you bequeath all to Dylan? The fellow who can't settle his own mobile charge." Frank ambled in, his mug clanking on the surface. "Lucas, don't turn this into a tempest. Dylan requires the assistance. You're okay. Okay, that term was a flame in parched weeds. Okay, because I've been supporting you. Okay, because I forfeited my existence for you." My voice fractured, harsh and unrestrained. "I'm your child too. Or did you overlook that?" Ellen extended toward my hand, but I withdrew. "We didn't intend to wound you," she murmured, her voice faltering. "We just assumed." "Assumed what?" I retorted. "That I'd continue funding a home I'll never possess." I released the will onto the table, the sheet settling like a rock in calm liquid. "Thanks for revealing my position." I departed, the door slamming closed after me. The stillness outdoors was more deafening than any shout. But that wasn't the most severe part. Months plodded on, and the quietness developed claws. No communications, no messages, no remorse, just an emptiness where my relatives once existed. Then one twilight my device vibrated. A message from Frank. "Lucas, lease is owed. Can you transfer it by Monday?" I gazed at the display, my beverage cooling. No reference to the will. No, "Are you all right?" just a request as if I were their backup. My hands quivered, fury and incredulity coiling within me. I responded, Dylan's inherited the home now. Let him manage it. 15 minutes afterward, Dylan messaged, Lucas, don't exclude us. We must discuss. I didn't answer. The wrath diminished, supplanted by something keener, more distinct. A reality I'd been too committed to recognize. I wasn't their guardian any longer. A month later, another note. Ellen this time. Lucas, the warmth is on the verge of being disconnected. Can you assist? I rejected the transaction plea without hesitation. Then Dylan once more, you're behaving as if we're outsiders. You always claimed kin is paramount. Kin. That term burned but didn't shatter me. I answered. Kin doesn't obliterate kin. You don't get to exploit me and label it concern. The communications continued arriving, each more frantic. Ellen, the communication service is about to terminate. Dylan, why are you inflicting this on us? I ceased responding. Each disregarded message felt like shattering a chain I'd borne for years. But the strain was escalating, and I sensed something was poised to fracture. I was finished. Finished hauling their load. Finished being the invisible light. My hands shook as I contacted the financial institution, removing my identity from their joint profile. I terminated the automatic transfers for their invoices, deleted the notifications from my device. It was akin to severing the cords of a balloon I'd been soaring solo. That evening, I reclined in my sparse flat, the one I'd never troubled to personalize because every cent flowed to them. I uncorked a flask of scotch, blasted blues music at high volume, and purchased myself a hide-covered notebook. Not the inexpensive coiled variety I'd always employed. I commenced scribbling, something I hadn't pursued since adolescence. Each phrase felt like an uprising, a fragment of myself I was reclaiming, but they weren't done with me. Not yet, one stormy evening as lightning growled outside. My device illuminated with an update from Ellen's online profile, a picture of the residence, titled When Your Own Child Forsakes You. Abandoning his elderly parents to forfeit everything, remarks poured in, unknown people labeling me ruthless, callous. Then Dylan's update, some individuals only aid when it benefits them. I suppose that's what obligation appears like nowadays. My respiration halted, not from anguish, but from an outrage I hadn't realized I could contain. They weren't merely deleting me. They were portraying me as the adversary, openly. I browsed through their deceptions, my heartbeat thumping, my hands firm. I wasn't mute any longer. I accessed my computer and shared my reality, a digital copy of the will, Dylan's name glaring in print. Captures of the lease disbursements I'd handled for years. The message from Ellen requesting $4,100 as if it were trivial. I composed. I devoted my essence to my relatives. They excluded me. This is my narrative. Not theirs. Within hours, the update spread widely. Acquaintances, locals, even outsiders remarked, you didn't merit this. How could they commit that? Ellen's update disappeared. Dylan's profile went silent. The reality was exposed. And it wasn't theirs to manipulate any longer. I don't know if they'll ever express regret. I don't know if the home on Willow Creek will be sold or deteriorate. I don't know if Dylan will ever support himself. And for the first time, I don't require knowing. I'm constructing an existence that's mine. Composing, instructing, existing without their shackles encircling my spirit. Kin isn't solely lineage. It's the individuals who recognize you, who respect you, who don't require your existence to validate your value. I selected myself. And that's not disloyalty. It's emancipation. If you were in my position, would you have departed, or would you have lingered? Hoping they'd acknowledge you,